So, here are 10 of the biggest mega structures from anime shows. Some here are oversized ships, some are gigantic super weapons, while others are just massive structures that float in the void of space. And I'm pretty sure there are many more that didn't make the list, so if you do know some, then put them down in the comments section below. And if there are 10 more entries, then we can research and make a part 2 video. So anyway, let's get to it. At number 10 we have the Eye from Angel's Egg. In this anime, we are transported into a desolate world where a young girl devoutly guards an egg of some unknown origin and then encounters a boy carrying a cross who begins to question the nature of his faith and his mysterious mission. The aesthetic here feels vaguely Victorian, bordering on a little bit of steampunk elements. Here, there is this gigantic mechanical sun which is tens of kilometers wide, which hangs over the world and creates a very unsettling sight to see. The structure resembles an enormous mechanical eye with a dark central iris surrounded by layers of Gothic cathedral architecture with massive rings of stonework, pipes, towers and ruined machinery. This gives it the appearance of a forgotten holy machine built by a lost civilization. Inside and around the iris are countless stone statues frozen in prayer poses, as though entire generations have become fossilized while worshipping it, while the inner mechanisms resemble decayed engines of a dying reactor core, which still glows blue from the iris. The film finally reveals that this entire world may actually rest upon the overturned hull of a gigantic ship, which thus makes it feel connected to the themes of Noah's Ark, lost faith and humanity drifting endlessly on a failed salvation. At number 9 we have Sidonia. So this one comes from the Knights of Sidonia, which is a highly acclaimed sci-fi manga and anime which is set in a post-apocalyptic future and follows a young pilot who defends the massive siege ship Sidonia from the Guana, which is a race of massive shape-shifting aliens that destroyed Earth before the events of the show. The said siege ship called Sidonia is designed like an enormous shaft or a cylinder roughly 29 kilometers long and about 5 kilometers wide, with its gravity oriented downward towards the engine so people can live normally inside its layered internal environment. Sidonia contains nearly everything needed to support civilization for centuries, including a huge residential district, vast industrial and factory zones, a built-in asteroid core used for mining raw materials, and an artificial ocean filled with edible marine life, and also a massive outer shell of ice more than 500 meters thick in some areas, which thus acts as both armor and a frozen water reserve. And then hiding within it are armories, factories, and defense systems, all installed to help humans survive the long, lonely journey in space. Now number 8 we have the Gryps 2. So this one comes from Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam, and it is a gigantic colony laser super weapon created by the Titans. This massive energy cannon was built from a rotating O'Neill cylinder colony ship that was around 30 kilometers long. Gryps 2 is essentially a hollow space habitat which is transformed into a movable weapon of mass destruction, which makes it far larger than ordinary warships and closer in scale to a small artificial world. The weapon could unleash a gigantic beam powerful enough to obliterate fleets, devastate space colonies, and even destroy major fortresses in a single shot, which thus makes it one of the deadliest strategic weapons in a universal century timeline. During the war, control of Gryps 2 constantly changed hands between the Titans, the AEUG, and the Axis Zeon, turning the colony laser into a center of several major battles. Although heavily damaged multiple times throughout its history, Gryps 2 became one of the most iconic Gundam super weapons because it combined the idea of a space colony with the power of a planet-killing laser cannon. Number 7. The Geiersburg Fortress from The Legend of Galactic Heroes. So here the galaxy is divided between the authoritarian Galactic Empire and the Democratic Free Planets Alliance, whose centuries-long interstellar war is seen by the rivalry between Reinhard von Lohengrin and Yang Wen-li. Within this setting exists the Geiersburg Fortress, which is one of the Galactic Empire's largest and most powerful space fortresses, built like a gigantic artificial world made for war. The fortress is 45 kilometers wide, weighs around 40 trillion tons, and it is large enough to hold up to 16,000 warships inside its huge docking areas, which are shaped like massive cliffs where the ships park horizontally along gigantic platforms. Its outer shell is covered in thick liquid metal, that can absorb explosions and even reflect laser attacks, which makes it extremely difficult to destroy or penetrate. The Geiersburg main weapon is the deadly Vulture Claw, a gigantic X-ray cannon powerful enough to strike targets from 600,000 kilometers away. But Geiersburg is more than just a weapon. It is also a royal palace, a naval base, and a mechanical moon, which makes it an iconic anime megastructure. Number 6. The Iserlohn Fortress. So this is another megastructure from Legends of the Galactic Heroes, and this is actually bigger than the Geiersburg Fortress. This one is 60 kilometers in diameter and weighs nearly 60 trillion tons. Structurally, Iserlohn is designed like a gigantic spherical battle station with a full habitat for millions built deep inside its armored shell. Its massive docking base can hold up to 20,000 warships at once, while entire farming sections inside the fortress are large enough to permanently support millions of soldiers and civilians without outside supplies, which allows it to operate as a fully self-sustaining fortress city in space. Covering the outer shell is a thick multi-layered sea of liquid metal, which acts as both shielding and armor plating, absorbing physical attacks and reflecting laser weapons like the Geiersburg, while hidden within its metallic layer are hundreds of floating cannon turrets that rise out of the liquid surface to attack enemy fleets before sinking back beneath the armor. But at the center of the fortress is its most feared weapon, the Thor Hammer Cannon, a super weapon capable of vaporizing fleets in a single shot. At number 5 we have the Gol Boddole Zer-class. So this mobile fortress from the Super Dimension Fortress Macross, Do You Remember Love, is one of the largest and most intimidating war machines ever in an anime, built by the gigantic alien Zentradi as a massive flying fortress and a fleet command center. The ship is an enormous elliptical structure about 600 kilometers across, with a huge spherical section containing a living biological supercomputer called the Gol Boddole Zer that controls the entire fortress. Because of its gigantic size, the fortress can carry around 5,000 warships along with a large army, and thus it makes it more like a moving space city. It is heavily armed with many weapons, but its deadliest is the giant Golgons cannon mounted at the front, a super weapon powerful enough to destroy other Fortress-class ships in a single blast, as well as entire fleets. The fortress can even repair itself during battle thanks to advanced self-repair systems, which makes it extremely difficult to destroy, and it is one of the most feared megastructures in Macross. Now at number 4 we have the Buster Machine 3. So this one comes from the anime called Gunbuster, and it is one of the most extreme super weapons / megastructures ever seen in anime, built by humanity during its desperate war against the gigantic alien called the Space Monsters as a final attempt to destroy the enemy's command center near the middle of the Milky Way galaxy. It was also nicknamed the Black Hole Bomb. The weapon was created by compressing the entire planet called Jupiter down to about 1/30,000th of its normal size, and this turns it into a gigantic unstable bomb designed to collapse into a black hole. The structure itself is a massive black pill-shaped object around 869 kilometers long, covered in hexagonal patterns and fitted with huge engines and also powerful defensive systems, with its outer shell famously built using all of Australia's landmass as construction material. Buster Machine 3 could perform warp jumps through space and was protected by an advanced barrier system which is strong enough to survive attacks from the entire fleets of the space monsters, although by the final battle its hull had become covered in enormous craters from the assault. When the bomb finally exploded, it destroyed everything across a 10,000 light-year radius before collapsing into a new supermassive black hole near the center of the Milky Way galaxy. On the third spot we have the Orbital Ring system from Tekkaman Blade. This is a gigantic ring-shaped megastructure built around the Earth in orbit, serving as humanity's main gateway to space during the 24th century. It stretched all around the planet like an artificial halo. The structure is connected to Earth through multiple space elevators located across different regions of the world, allowing people, cargo and spacecraft to travel between the surface and orbit without relying entirely on rockets. The orbital ring became the center of Earth's economy, industry and space travel infrastructure, and along its outer sections are powerful laser defense systems, originally designed to destroy meteors and dangerous space debris before they could collide with the Earth, which turns the ring into both a civilian hub and a planetary defense platform. However, when an alien race called the Radom invaded Earth, they captured the orbital ring and used it against the planet below, transforming humanity's greatest technological achievement into a terrifying weapon of control and enslavement. But later in the story, a resistance group called the Space Knights successfully retakes the structure and uses it to destroy the giant radon trees of these aliens across Earth, while the ring itself also becomes a refuge for civilians escaping the devastation on the surface of Earth. On the second spot we have the Ark of Destruction, coming from space battleship Yamato Star Blazers 2202. So this is an enormous mobile fortress and a living superstructure which is used as the capital of the Galantis Empire, appearing in space like a giant glowing comet the size of a gas giant planet, which means around 100,000 kilometers wide, more or less. Its outer appearance comes from a swirling shell of superheated white gas that surrounds the fortress and trails behind it through space strong enough to crush asteroids and damage targets by just gravity effects alone. Hidden inside this storm-like shell is the Ark itself, a colossal structure built around a massive castle tower taller than the Earth's diameter, with glowing red-eye structures watching from its upper sections. Beneath the tower sits a huge disc-shaped city area connected to the planet Catcher, which is seen as a gigantic claw-like framework made of 18 massive arms that can hold entire planets inside of it. And it is powered by an immense reactor and a gravity core at the center. At its full power, the Ark can even transform its structure entirely, reshaping into a giant cross-shaped superweapon with a reactor at its center, capable of firing planet-destroying energy beams. And this makes it one of the largest and most godlike mobile fortresses ever shown in science fiction. And on the top spot we have the city from Blame. See, in the anime and the manga called Blame, the city is a gigantic artificial world that has expanded so widely that it now fills much of the solar system. It was built from an incredibly strong material that is called the megastructure. The city is made up of endless stacked layers known as strata, each separated by colossal structural shells that support the unimaginable weight above them. These strata are so enormous that traveling from one layer to another can take weeks or even months. And at the center of this endless expansion is the Netsphere, a massive virtual network which is embedded within the megastructure that once allowed humans with special net terminal genes to control the city's growth. But after those humans nearly vanished, the automated systems lost control and the city began expanding forever in every direction. The result is a nearly incomprehensible artificial environment that may be larger than most Dyson spheres in fiction, with the creator Tsutomu Nihei suggesting it could span the diameter of Jupiter's orbit, which means around 1.6 billion kilometers in just radius, and that translates to 32 quintillion 169 quadrillion 900 trillion square kilometers, and that is just mind-boggling to even imagine. Oh yeah, we were about to include the Gurren Lagann mechas, including the Super Tengen Topper Gurren Lagann, as well as the Getter Emperor from Robo Getter, but after carefully thinking about it, we decided to push them into another list, which would be about robots and mechas, since that fits the terminology more than megastructure thing. Now, with that we end this video. Do hit the like button for support and also click that bell button for regular updates on new video uploads. Also subscribe to be a part of Legion Notebook. And till the next time, take care, boys.